Your friends from the Light FM get unique opportunities to speak with Bible teachers, authors, and speakers about the things that matter to you. Here's Tricia with another hopeful conversation we thought you might like.
Hey, so glad you are here today. Have I got a treat for you? So excited to spend some time with a very special guest, best-selling author, nationally known speaker, amazing podcaster, and professional fun person, Annie F. Downs. Annie, I am so glad to talk to you today. So glad you could come and chat with us.
Tricia, I'll take that introduction all day long. Thank you very much. Professional fun person is everything I want to be.
Well, that's everything you are. It is amazing. You should put fun on your resume. You are just such a fun, real person that we can all connect to. You're known for being fun. I just love your podcast. So Annie has a podcast called That Sounds Fun. And it is just that. So much fun, chatting with friends, discovering things, digging into interesting stuff, and always rooted in faith. And I just love and appreciate that so much. And now you have a new book coming out. It's just come out with the same name. That Sounds Fun. And we are going to talk about that. I can't wait to get mine, but we're going to talk about that just in a second. But how would you feel if I asked you just a few questions, just kick it off with some rapid fire questions? Would you be up?
I'm ready. Yes.
She's so much fun. Okay. Just first thing that comes to mind. You ready? All right.
I'm always up for it, Tricia. Let's go.
Woo! Most fun, healthy snack.
Like power balls, protein balls that are like peanut butter and oats and chocolate chips.
Yes, please. Most fun, non-healthy snack.
Oh, Oreos. I have a real thing with Oreos.
Oh, yes. And as well, you should. Okay. Most fun way to spend a Saturday afternoon.
Oh, with my friend. I'm not married yet, don't have kids yet, so it'd be with my friends' kids. Like playing outside with my friends' kids would be the most, or taking a nap. That's the other thing. I get back and forth depending on the season.
Oh, I bet you're fun with kids. Oh, I can just imagine. Okay. Most fun household chore.
I don't do chores. What are you talking about? My house is a wreck. I'll tell you what I love doing when I make my tea. I don't drink coffee. I wake up like this, Tricia. Like this is me on the planet. Yes, it's terrifying.
Wow, God has blessed you with this.
But to my friends and family, I apologize that I wake up like this. But I get up and I make my tea in the morning, and while I'm doing that, I unload the dishwasher, and that's kind of like my favorite morning rhythm. It's like I unload the dishwasher, I put any dishes in. Because you have to boil this morning you signed up for it. You have to boil the water and then wait 5 minutes as you're making your tea. So I have like 9 minutes standing in the kitchen. So that's when I handle all the dishes from the night before.
See, you've made household chore fun. I love it. That's impressive.
Right.
All right. I know you sing a little bit. I know you like to do the singing. So most fun Christian song to sing.
Oh, to sing. Gosh. I mean, what do I love singing? I will sing along. I'll be anybody's harmony. So I'll sing along to anything Matthew West. I'll come in and be a harmony for Matthew West. Anything Lauren Daigle, I got you on that alto part. So it's not about the song. It's how my voice matches with the person that does not know I'm singing with them.
I love it. Okay. Most fun nail polish color.
Okay. I've got to show you my nails, which isn't very helpful, but they match the book cover.
What?
Yes.
That's so crazy cool.
Isn't that cool? So that's my favorite is designs. But if you just are like wanting to buy a bottle, that's great. Stop It, I'm Blushing by OPI is a really great pink that has a little bit of peach in it, which looks better on my skin tone than some of the other pinks.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay. Most fun way to connect to God.
Oh, how do I love to connect to God? For me, I call them rabbit trails. It happened this morning where I'm reading the scripture. I'm reading through the Bible, doing the 1 year Bible, and a verse will jump out. And today it was a verse in Psalms that says, take heart, wait on the Lord, take heart. And I was like, what does it mean to take heart? And so then I get out my Blue Letter Bible app on my phone and I look up the original meaning of that word and figure out where else it's in the Bible. So that's the most fun way to connect with God to me, is to chase rabbit trails. But I feel like the Holy Spirit kind of invites me on to be like, what does that word mean? How far do you want to dig into that? And it is, sometimes I have incredible surprises that you find out. Can I ask you one, Tricia? Listen to this.
Yeah.
Do you know how many bottles of wine Jesus made when he turned water into wine?
Well, I watched the Chosen episode not that long ago, and they were big old barrels. It was like maybe 10 barrels.
Yeah. So the math, if you actually do the science, he made 750 bottles of wine.
Wow.
How about that? It's
How do you know that?
If you do that, because it held 20 to 30 gallons. So if you do 25 gallons times 6 of those that he filled, so an average, and then you split that up into 750 milliliters, and it's 750 bottles. It's wild, but it's just such a cool reminder when you dig in it, when you're reading scripture and questions come to your head, trust that those are supposed to take you somewhere. Don't just go, yeah, I do wonder how much that is. Because what I learned out of that is Jesus doesn't just answer your prayers or bring a miracle. He is extraordinary in how he does the miracles in your life. I mean, who needs 750 bottles of wine at a wedding? Wild. That would be wild if you walked into a wedding and saw that much. And so I have the most fun connecting with God by going on rabbit trails like that.
That's wonderful. And once again, you're taking something fun and you're talking about the extravagant love and blessing of Jesus. So that's wonderful. That's wonderful. This is what you do so well in your podcast, and now I'm sure in this book. So I want to dig in a little bit more as we get excited about That Sounds Fun, the book. Why do you think fun is so important right now?
Well, I mean, 2020, right? I mean, we could say full stop. We need fun because of 2020, because of what we just experienced. Before last year, we could have listed out 100 ways to have fun, and most of them would have involved being outside of our homes, and a lot of them would have involved being outside of our cities, and all of that got removed from us. So I think fun really matters right now because we've been missing it. I said to my pastor yesterday at church, I said, I feel like we're an Easter people who've been in Lent for a year. And I think that just feels true to a lot of us. We are, even as I was driving to church, I was like, Lord, can the winter be over yet? It's so cold. And I'm tired of being inside when we can't go to concerts. And, you know, like, I feel it in me. I'm at the end of my ability to enjoy this. Right? And I think fun matters because what I have to do in those moments, the way we really have fun is in those moments, I have to go, this is all very true. We're an Easter people that are stuck in a Lent, and I am tired of winter. What can I do to enjoy today? Well, I can put a coat on and go on a walk because it's sunny, or I can get under I have this one really furry blanket that I adore. And so I'm like, I won't want to do that in July. I won't want to be under my furry blanket in July. So what if I just enjoyed it today instead of wishing for July? And I think that's why fun matters. Is in a lot of ways we're wishing for July and we're trying to get out of February, and not just July and February. You know what I mean? I mean, in a lot of bigger ways, we're trying to get out of the winter and get to the summer. And instead, I think the invitation from God is, can you find sunshine in your winter?
Wow, that's a really interesting thought, because I think so many of us, myself included, are doing that. We're wishing for the future, when things are different, when things are normal, when things are this, when. And so we're just sort of existing in the present. Yes. So how are you digging in to find fun in the present? You mentioned that fuzzy blanket. I love that idea. And you're right. That fuzzy blanket has a time when it's going to be perfect, and then there'll be a time when it's not.
Yes.
Help us do that. How do we dig in, and how do we find more fun things in the present? How are you doing that?
I'll tell you one thing my friends and I are doing. There's a bunch of us that all love puzzles, but we don't want to own 60 puzzles. And we've done our own. So we have a spreadsheet and we all share it, and we're checking out our puzzles from each other. Right. So that's just one example of what we're doing. But let me tell you how that can translate into anything. Is that we can invite our community into what we need, and we need fun, and say to people like, hey, has your family played the same 3 board games for the last 6 months? Can we trade board games? And can we take the ones out of our house and you take the ones out of your house, and you leave them at the end of your driveway and I'll leave mine at the end of my driveway, and we'll trade for a couple of weeks, right? There's just got to be some ways we start inviting each other into our need and into what we're looking for. And I think it's bringing back hobbies and bringing back activities that we used to love, maybe in 2019, but maybe in 1980. Like maybe there are some things from your childhood that you could be doing again. I think about most of us, if not all of us, had grandmothers who cooked. And when's the last time we made one of her recipes? Like, what if we just got in the kitchen and went like, those cookies my grandmother made, I have no idea how she did those. Let me Google it. See if anybody else ever made. My grandmother made these things called cathedral cookies that were, right. They're like, they have colored marshmallows in them and chocolate.
What?
And then when you cut them, they look like a stained glass window. Well, I've never seen anybody else make those. And so what's fun to me right now, when we're still kind of limited in our life of what we can do, I want to figure out how to make those cookies. Even though she's been gone for 20 years, I want to remember her cookies and bring them back. And so there are things like that we can do right now. We can't go back to our childhood. I can't go back to her house and walk in her kitchen and watch her make them. And so I have to call that's reality. I have to call that what it is. But I can bring a recipe into my 2021 and have some really fun opportunity to screw up on the cookies. It's okay if I screw up. I'm an amateur. That's why that subtitle is The Joys of Being an Amateur, the power of falling in love and why you need a hobby. There is some joy in being an amateur. Make a cookie wrong 8 times before you make it right. That's fine. And so that's what I'm doing to try to bring fun into my life today instead of wishing there and planning for fun in the life that we think we're going to get in 6 months, and who knows.
Right. I love how you're bringing back some of your past and the people that are important to you in your past as you do that, because that's making me think, oh yeah, my grandmother used to cook too, and oh yeah, my grandmother used to do like cross stitch and like cool things I wouldn't have ever done, but that's
I need you to know, I just bought 3 cross stitch patterns off of Etsy that are the 3 cities I've lived in. Like as like a cross stitch, like Nashville, Atlanta, and Edinburgh, Scotland. And that's going to be the next thing I do while it's still too cold to go outside. Because I'm the same. My grandmother taught me how to cross stitch. My other grandmother from the cookie one. And so there's just things like that we get, sports, playing outside, art, singing, instruments. I mean, whatever you did in the summer in 3rd grade, bring it back.
I like that. So I'm thinking if someone's listening and they're like, well, that sounds cool. I don't think I can do cross stitch, or I don't have any good recipes. Like, I'm trying to help. How could somebody dig in and find their own things? I like that. What you did in the 3rd grade, kind of go back to your history.
Yeah. If you played with Legos back then, do it again. There's grown-up Lego sets all over the place. If you liked painting when you were a kid and you drew pictures all the time, but Andrew Peterson, who I'm sure you know and love, that's a musician, a Christian musician and author, he has started drawing trees on his Instagram and shows you these beautiful trees he draws just because he missed drawing. I mean, there's unlimited amount of hobbies waiting for you. You already know what you love to do. Just go back and remember what you used to make time for and make time for it again.
I love that. That is so exciting. That's such a great, now my mind's spinning off into all these like cool things that we can do. And, so much of the time we think we can't do something if we're not excellent at it. And that's why I love the approach of be happy you're an amateur and have fun and try stuff. Nailed it.
Yes, that's exactly right. Let yourself off the hook. The only thing you need to be a professional at is your job. You don't know how to be a professional at anything else. You've never been the person you are today. You've never lived today before. Your hobbies, you can keep trying, like take the pressure off that you've got to do everything perfectly and start making some mistakes, and it'll be fun.
Wow, that's fun. That's fun. Yeah. Just that thought, just like my shoulders went, I can try that. And it doesn't matter if it's absolutely ridiculous. How do you see faith and fun tying together through this?
Oh man, I see it all the time. I just think, when you look at Jesus, he again invited to all the parties and all the weddings. He's always at dinner parties. People are always listening to him. We have tons of stories he told, and kids loved him. That guy is fun, right? Like, that's not the parts that the gospel writers pulled out for us necessarily, but didn't John say at the end, if everything Jesus did was written down, there wouldn't be enough books. There wouldn't be enough space for all the books. There's so much of his personality we're still getting to know and will continue to get to know for eternity. There's no way he wasn't fun. There's no way he wasn't a good time. Kids don't like people who aren't fun. And they were always around him. And so I just think, oh man, our faith is so closely tied to the things that bring us joy. And I am convinced that, God made giraffes. He made ostriches. He made, like you can't look at all that and go, yeah, he's kind of boring. You're like, you stretch that neck out so far and then you gave it spots. That's hilarious. Right? I mean, God's personality is one that enjoys making things, and we're made in his image.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can't have fun when you're rushing, right?
Yeah.
And that's another thing that we've been paying attention to about Jesus. He never rushed.
Yeah.
And so
that's right.
he was just able to be in the moment, and you can't have fun unless you're in the moment.
That's exactly right. I mean, Jesus was so great at that. He was so good at he was always going somewhere on purpose, but he never stopped seeing the people that were around him that were going with him. Like he walked a lot of places. He always was going to a city. He wasn't just roaming around.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so I adore him. I just think the most of him. And so I just really love thinking about what it was like to just walk down the street with him and see him like throw a kid up on his shoulders and give him a piggyback ride down the street. You're like, he was that guy. The kids wouldn't have stayed around him if he wasn't.
Wow, I'm excited because now I know when I'm seeking to have fun, I'm seeking to be more like Jesus. And I love that idea.
Right. I hope so. I think that's true. I think if we were made in his image, and some of our friends are the funniest people we've ever met, there's something about that.
Well, you have had such a successful podcast with this Sounds Like Fun podcast. Why did you want to do a book?
At the end of every episode of That Sounds Fun, I ask people, tell me what sounds fun to you. And we started getting a crazy amount of answers. And as that started happening, then people in the audience, like listeners, started coming up to me in public and telling me what they do for fun as well. And sometimes they would get teary, and sometimes they would be frustrated. And I was like, oh, this is not just like a fun question. This is a serious topic. People have forgotten how to have fun. And maybe one of the reasons God put me on the planet is to remind us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the book allows you, I guess, to dive deeper.
Absolutely. And kind of, I'm telling so many of my own stories that while we're doing Insta stories and conversations like this and podcast episodes, this from your life too, Tricia, that below this, there's a lot going on in my life.
Yes.
And I can't talk about it the day it's happening, but a year later I can write about it. And so kind of like for my friends who've been along the journey with me, it's kind of an insider view of what was going on in my life. But for friends that were just meeting, it's this story of how a woman who doesn't have everything she wants, who is still figuring out a lot of what it's like to be a human, is figuring out how to have fun.
You are not afraid to share your story, some of the deeper stories, which I really appreciate, yet you have fun. Like, I think sometimes people think, well, I'm either going to be a fun person who denies the tough stuff in my life, or I'm going to dive into the tough stuff and not have fun. But how have you managed to meld those two parts of you together?
Well, they're just both me. And so the work has been, how do you learn to love the way God made you?
Oh, thank you.
What if God made me like this? And we're all so unique. Our fun is unique. Our stories are unique, and the things that we are meant to share and meant to live out are that unique. And so for me, it is, do I believe that God made me on purpose? And the longer I have worked at that, and that is work, because I live with myself every day and I can be very annoying, right? And so the work I do around learning to love the way God made me makes me capable to do the ministry I'm made to do.
Do you talk about that in your book? Because I think many of us want to know how to learn to love the person that God made.
Yes, absolutely. You've got to. Yeah, I had to write about it because it's so central to, I mean, I say in the book that the longest relationship in my whole life is the relationship I have with my own body. I won't have another relationship that's any longer than the one that I am in this body. And so learning how to reconcile that relationship and love the way God made me, spirit, soul, and body is one of the highest jobs of my life.
Oh, and so worth it. How can we get your book? Tell me.
Oh, girl, it's embarrassingly easy. It's everywhere. It's at Target. There's a special edition at Target. So you can go to your local Target, and there's some bonus journaling pages in the back. It's on Amazon. It's at Barnes & Noble. My favorite place to buy bookstores is at my local bookstore, or to buy books is at my local bookstore. And it's called That Sounds Fun. So it's like just like me, it's embarrassingly easy to find.
I love it. All right. But now maybe a friend is listening and she's like, I want more Annie F. Downs.
Yep.
So how do people find you?
Tricia, you know it. It's Annie F. Downs everywhere. F is for fun. So anywhere you can find me, that's how you'll find me. And then the podcast is called That Sounds Fun. It releases every Monday and Thursday. So that's how you can get the longer conversations.
2 times a week. We need you. We need you.
You're very kind. You tell me when it's too much and we'll back up.
Oh, Annie F. Downs, super fun, amazing author and speaker and podcaster and now friend. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Oh, I loved it. Thanks for having me. Thanks for what you do, Tricia. It means so much, really.
It's my honor.
Thank you.